Igathe, welcome to the back seat.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
Polycarp, when I first met you, you were a young man engaged in marketing, selling beverages, if I remember.
Yes.
But soon after that, you became a CEO. At a very young age. How old were you then?
I was 31 actually.
31 as a CEO is pretty... How did you cope with that? Because when you became a CEO at 31, I imagine many of the people, if not most, reporting to you were older than you. How does one cope with it?
I've had to cope with it by growing up very fast myself, which I started to do when I was in Coca-Cola in those early days before I moved to breweries where we met. And I've enjoyed. I think I've been very lucky to be a young CEO because society, CEO is considered to be a leadership position of authority, so an elder is expected usually. I have high energy. I've been able to work in different teams and also laugh at my own mistakes and not take myself so seriously.
And it's important to acknowledge mistakes and laugh at them, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because too many leaders, I find, try to pretend they don't make mistakes, and if they do, they have to be suppressed.
Sunny, I've learned since I've been a CEO that you have to have a thick skin and a light touch. Because when you're young and a CEO, the company I became CEO for had almost 1,000 people. That was Hako Industries. That's where I became a CEO.
Yes.
The average age of the company then was almost 51.
Wow.
So you've got to find a way of being able to earn the respect of
you were
people.
20 years younger than the average.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely, of the company. Yeah. And like where I'm working now, I'm one of the oldest now. So so it changes quite fast.
So, but at the age of 31, when you are made CEO, it must be quite difficult to stay humble, because it can go to your head, can't it?
Yes, very quickly. If you're the kind that thinks what you did yesterday is what counts today, I'm a real believer that I have to wake up diligently every day to win today.
Yes.
Of course, the fact that I won yesterday gives me confidence,
Right.
but it should never give me arrogance. It just give me humble self-confidence to keep on winning every
Indeed,
day.
and in today's disruptive times, all of us can be irrelevant in a moment.
Absolutely.
If we don't see it coming.
I like to know people who are not like me.
Right.
Actually, people who even fundamentally question my own beliefs. I find that I grow that way.
Do you seek such people out?
Absolutely.
Which is very important, isn't it, in business leadership, that you're not in a rut, you're not thinking in one way, you're not captive to one method.
The prevailing mental model today, when you look at most businesses, people look at things from a lens of identity. So they'll look at your skin color, or they look at your height, they look at your social class, they look at you're always from a certain tribe.
Yes.
When you're CEO, you're going to remain objective. You've got to go undercover. If I remember my days in Fast Forward, go undercover into other tribes.
Yes.
Appreciate what they value, and that helps you really be able to manage across cultures, across identities, and gives you nuance that really helps you win in the market. And I found that it really helps me.
Now, being a manager and leading a particular team, compared to being a CEO when you lead all the teams, what's the key difference there in terms of how does your life change?
I keep on saying, when you're a manager, you're in the business. You are in the business.
Yes.
When you're a CEO, you are on the business. In other words, you're the custodian of the forest.
Right.
Your managers are custodians of the trees.
Right.
And being custodian of the forest means, first of all, you're in charge of the ecosystem. You have to listen to the sound of the river, the sound of the birds, the sound of the wind, the feel of the wind, and be able to bring that down to the managers who are taking care of the trees and say, by the way, you need to perhaps, the Swahili word, palilia around that tree, or you need to hedge that tree, or this is what I am seeing.
Right.
But at the same time, realize that you're not the expert. If the manager is the expert, today I work. I think in my team I have 5 very solid engineers
who know their work way better than you do.
Absolutely, and I acknowledge that, and they know. So when they come to my office, I always demand, can you bring me the 3 solutions to the problem you can see? Unfortunately, some of us CEOs sometimes think we are the answer to everything. I'm very comfortable saying, by the way, I don't know. When you're in charge of the ecosystem, you can't undermine the authority of the people who manage the trees.
Indeed,
You really will never do that.
That's an interesting metaphor.
And in the Kenyan system, people want to start from the top and then come down.
Yes.
Rather than go through my team, they want to shortchange the system and come through me. So as an integrator, that's what I see as a major difference.
Yes.
Don't ever expect you to get a different answer from me as opposed to the one you've been given by my managers.
Your wife now is also a CEO,
Yeah.
Catherine, also of a substantial enterprise, and you must be one of the few CEO couples around. How does that work out at home?
By the way, I'm really excited that she's made CEO, because for me, she's always been CEO material.
Indeed, yeah.
And I'm very happy for her that on her own right she's at.
Yeah.
When we get home, we switch off completely the CEO title. Nobody even remembers.
Right.
You know, she's in the insurance industry, financial
Yes,
services.
yes.
I've been in fast-moving consumer goods services. So sometimes when we want to go into mode work, we talk about industries and we talk about people. So right there, I have a wonderful focus group, and really
Yes, indeed.
about what are you seeing that I'm not seeing? What's going on in your
industry? So
industry?
you learn from each other.
A lot.
There was a time you were dealing with relatively old people, you were leading them. And these days, I'm sure, given the demographic changes in society, you are now leading very young teams. How are you coping with that difference?
Yeah, when you are leading older teams, they defer to authority very easily.
Yeah.
But that should never hoodwink you, because Kenyans, we are known for being passive aggressive. You know,
we look like we're complying.
The fact that somebody calls you sir or calls you chairman or calls you should never mislead you that they align to what you want to do. Younger people are not like that. They're not passive aggressive. I think they're very different. They're very upcoming. At the end of the day, I think in today's world, as a leader, you're leading people.
Yes.
You're not leading a structure.
Yes, or equipment.
Or locations or depots. Behind it's people. And when you connect with people, then people have your back. I always tell my team, I have your back, please have my back. I have no eyes behind me. I'm relying on you to truly have my back, and I'll have yours.
Right.
And if you ever feel I'm not having your back, please walk into my office and let's have a conversation about it. What it is I can do to improve or get better at it.
And these sorts of skills of leadership are timeless, aren't they? They don't apply to particular generations. They've always been like this.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's the wisdom of ages.
Yes.
If you read the books, if you listen to music, all of us in our careers, we've worked for good leaders and we've worked for bad leaders. You learn how not to do things.
Indeed.
If I fail in anything as a CEO, I should never fail in leading people.
And if you succeed with your people, then you succeed with your customers, and ultimately you succeed with your shareholders.
Automatically, yeah. And you know, it's the same cycle. I keep on going back. I use it a lot. I mean, shareholders invest in employees. Employees invest in customers.
Yeah.
Customers
Absolutely.
automatically pay a shareholder. But sometimes people want to, especially Kenyan shareholders, they love shortchanging employees. and some there are also shareholders in Kenya who I've seen who like to shortchange customers. They push employees to shortchange customers.
Which is a very short-term strategy, which will come undone.
Yeah, so you see somebody who's been producing or giving a very good service running a garage.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, he fires the best mechanic because he says I'm paying him too much.
Yeah.
And that's the person who used to make the customers come.
Indeed.
Then he gets a second-rate person.
It's very short-sighted.
Very, very, very short-sighted.
Lots of business leaders come unstuck, though. They mess up, they create problems for themselves. What causes this? What are some of the pitfalls of leadership that you would advise people to avoid?
And not be a faker, because we have too many of those.
Yes.
Reduce the gap between what you say and what you do. You say this, then the following day what you're reading in the newspaper. And now, the only award you can get is by customers coming back to your shop the following day.
Yes.
That's the only award you look for.
Or an employee saying you are the best boss they ever had. That's an award worth having.
To also be humble enough to remember when you're CEO, you think you're the boss, but you're never the boss. Actually, you become the servant.
Yes, indeed. It's a service. It's a privilege. It's you know, an act of responsibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Polycarp Igathe, it's been great to have you. Now we work on getting the other CEO in the family on the best. Leadership is not a reward. It's a privilege. The point about leadership is not the bigger office, the power over others, the swooning acolytes. The point is this: you have been given the chance to make a real difference. What will you do with that power? When you're propelled into leadership, you need to learn many new things. You have to learn to stop doing and start inspiring. You have to learn how to get other people excited, not just yourself. You have to learn to withstand intense scrutiny. You have to learn that the buck now stops with you You won't be able to blame anyone else. If you can learn all of that quickly, you have a chance. See you next time on The Backseat.